Hi, this is Shyanne Beatty with the Alaska Native Heritage Center. I'm really glad to have Jody Potts join me. We are both Hän Gwich'in Athabascan from Eagle, Alaska, and both of us have grown up with the tradition of dog mushing. It's the week of the Iditarod. Very different time this year for the Iditarod 2021, as there's no ceremonial start in downtown Anchorage, but will be at Deshka Landing this Saturday. So I thought it would be really fun if I interviewed my cousin or little sister, Jody Potts, about dog mushing. One of the things for me as a Hän Athabascan growing up in Eagle, you and I both know that we all had dog teams, and that was really our only form of transportation. When we were young, every single person had a dog team during that time. I know that since we've moved out of Eagle, you really kind of took up dog mushing, really kind of in Kenny Lake, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. When I came, one of my main reasons coming back to Alaska after finishing college in Arizona was because I really wanted to get my kids back into our culture and our way of life as Hän Gwich'in people. And part of that was I really wanted to come home and just have a dog team and raise my kids with dogs. So.
Can you kind of tell me a little bit about the relationship between, us as Athabascans, which with a long history of utilizing dogs as, our main source of transportation, about that really, caring family kind of relationship that we have with our dogs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, our people for many generations have used dogs um, as main transportation source, and that's how we got around the land. And so it's very much a part of our way of life as not just Hän Gwich'in Athabascans, but a lot of Athabascans. And, it's a big source of pride for people today. And, I still talk to Hi, Adigan Mackey. I apologize. Lance Mackey's kids are here. I'm babysitting them so he could actually go run dogs. So his kids really like my kids and I, and he drops them off so he could take care of
Speaking
his
of the
dog.
Iditarod legend
Speaking of
himself.
Iditarod, yeah. Yeah, so apologize. I have a couple little kids here that are running around. But anyways, yeah, the relationship between Athabascan people and sled dogs is one that goes back for generations, and it's a really important relationship. One of the Athabascan elders, actually, I've had a lot talk to me about running dogs, and one of the most important things that I heard was that we're supposed to take care of our dogs like they're our family, because without our dogs we can't get anywhere, and we take care of our dogs before we even take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So you get somewhere, you don't just run in to your house or the mushing lodge or wherever, checkpoint, and go get yourself food and something to drink and rest. Like, you, first thing you do is you take care of those dogs. And so, I think really that philosophy of treating them like your family, I think, is really, really important.
I know that, for us, that we had 21 dogs. I'm sure you have around the same. And um, how many dogs did you have when you started off mushing in Kenny Lake?
I started off with just 6 dogs, like my first 6 dogs, small team. And I was really just like, as an adult myself, learning. This is also kind of a different breed of dog than what I was raised with. I was raised with more like the real traditional, older style village dogs, more like a large Malamute type dog that was really for freighting to get us from trap line back to the village and out on the land. So they were big, strong, slow, but real endurance type dogs. The dogs today that I've been mushing and I started with in 2010 um, are the new Alaskan Husky breed. So they're a lot smaller, but they're faster and they still have a lot of endurance. And so I started small with 6 dogs, and then I ended up at one point having upwards of 16 dogs, and had a few litters of puppies that my kids helped me train, and some of those puppies were in Iditarod in a bunch of races, and those dogs have helped other mushers become very successful in their careers. And so, that the musher that I gave my dogs to when I moved from Kenny Lake to Fairbanks in 2013. That musher has done really well with my dog team that I gave him. And I just recently got my old leader back, and my dog sled that I loaned out, and slowly building up my team. And I'm really, really looking forward to the future with having my own dog team and living out on the land again.
So I know you and I have talked in the past because, when Pete Kaiser won the Iditarod, it was pretty amazing. And also John Baker. And we're like, we need a woman to win the Iditarod. And you and I have had that conversation of getting you to the Iditarod. I mean, when we have that conversation as you're moving forward and like thinking possibly about that, what are some things that you have to do to prepare to get in the Iditarod? Are there certain races that you have to win to even get considered?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess first of all is, Iditarod takes a lot of time and building up a team that could go that distance. So you're gonna, as a musher, you're gonna have to put in a lot of time and work, but also it takes a lot of money to do Iditarod. And I think for a lot of Native people, we come from our villages there's not a lot of economy. Our villages, are struggling these days with getting enough fish, which is the main food source for a lot of Native mushers. That's what we feed our dogs. And so there's, significant challenges, I would say, for a lot of Native mushers. But I think that folks like John Baker and Richie Deal and, the other Native mushers that have been really successful really do inspire our people. And I know that in our communities, everyone gets really excited about these Native mushers and are super supportive. But I think for me, it's just, I'm going to have to start from the bottom up, and I have my old leader back who has bred a great team for Jesse Holmes, and he's done really well in racing the last few years. And so I'm really excited. He's my leader is 10 years old. Just ran him out to our fish camp on the Yukon the last couple days, and so really looking forward to like breeding up my own team, getting to know these dogs from birth and training them. I think that's how you can really start to have your own successful team, is just like that relationship that the person has with their dogs. And so that's kind of my goal. It may be a while before I get into any big races and have a team ready, but it's going to take just a lot of work. I mean, dogs are a lot of work, and you almost, I gave up my dogs in 2013 because I took a pretty high level demanding job. So my career kind of launched, and I chose that at the time, and had to give up my team because I knew I couldn't do both, demanding career plus dog team and a single parent. So, my kids are older. I'm not in that career anymore, and I'm just ready to really dedicate the time to really what I love, and it just, when I'm out with my dogs, it just takes me back to being a kid, with your family and mine, like out on trap line, or traveling the river, and it's really just where my heart is just so full of joy and happiness. And that's where I feel like I'm my best. So last few years I've been I've been guiding for Arctic Winter Adventures for my friend out in Fox, Alaska, and helping him with his dogs, and helping him and another guide train for Copper Basin and the Yukon Quest, and doing a lot of training with them, training up their teams. And so, that just felt really good. And I'm just ready to get back to doing what I love and putting in the work to hopefully get to a start line somewhere. And you do have to qualify to get into Iditarod. You have to finish successfully, I think, a couple 200-mile races and a 300, something to that effect. You have to be able to prove, you can't just like willy-nilly like sign up for Iditarod
Well,
and
of
jump.
course.
You have
No,
to
yeah.
qualify, And so it's gonna, it'll take a little time. I'll spend a year qualifying, and I've done a few races, shorter distance ones, but I got we'll see what happens.
Do you think you'll do the Yukon Quest before the Iditarod? I mean, since you're going to be mushing right through our hometown.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I would say that Yukon Quest really is like for me, more of a heart race because it goes right
Yeah.
through the heart of our people's country. So Eagle is like and Dawson, like our grandma is from the village just downriver from Dawson, and we're tribal members of the Dawson tribe and the Eagle tribe. And, it's, all that country is where we grew up anyway. And so it would just be so amazing and special. Like Yukon Quest is like really what I want to do. And Iditarod, uh, it just seems really exciting. But the quest for me would just mean the world to me. So
Plus the Percy D. Wolf.
yeah, Percy DeWolf, which my dad won way back in I don't know, sometime in the 80s.
Wow.
My dad did the Percy DeWolf and won. And so yeah, it would be just super, super cool. So yeah. And I'm
Speaking
actually,
of, going through Han country and everything, but I just like that whole, not only the relationship with your dogs, quite frankly, but that, I don't know if I would kind of like mushing in your own church of sorts. Like
oh
it's a
yeah.
very spiritual connection to
Mhm.
the land. Can you kind of, talk a little bit about that really when you're out there with your dogs?
Oh man. Like, and now I might get emotional because just,
Right?
yeah, it really is something like, I often think when I'm out, especially on like the Yukon River. I just got back from mushing on the Yukon the last couple days, and being out there, just thinking about our ancestors, traveling from village to village, on our sacred river. It's
Yeah.
just a powerful, powerful experience. And, it's 2021 and we have all this new technology and all this stuff. And it's just like a high paced world. But when I'm out there, like everything just slows down and gets very real, and having that connection not only to your dogs but to the land and the powerful experience is just very, it just sets my soul on fire. But at the same time, it also brings me such a incredible feeling of peace and just I'm my most natural self. So it's almost like I can't even put to words. So yeah, I love being out with dogs on our traditional lands, and mushing up to fish camp the other night, and seeing the smoke coming out of the chimney or the stovepipe from our cabin. It's just like such a warm feeling. Just thinking like, oh man, it's just I'll be able to go in the house, and sure enough, I get in the house and there's caribou soup on the wood stove.
Right.
It's just like the best. It's just hard to beat.
I know
So
I remember some of my most favorite times is like, remember like moonlight mushing nights when like, cause I lived across, the Yukon River from
yep,
we're the
yep,
only family that lived over there. And so I just remember those moonlight nights where you're mushing and kind of like the sound of the dogs and how they kept the pace and they're breathing at the same time and the whole rhythm of that. And it's
yep,
like a whole other, musical, score of basically just the dogs themselves and the silence and the cold night, but also being with the auroras at night too, and just how
mhm,
magical that is being out on the land like that.
yep,
Whereas, if you're on a motorized vehicle, it's loud and you can't
yeah,
really connect as well. But yeah, those were some good times. But then I also just I went home for Christmas, and then my dad was like, talking about how, remember that the ramp down from Freddie and Sharon's and you get onto the Yukon River there, how he lost the dogs, they took off, the sled went sideways, and he goes, and Shyanne, of course, Shyanne being Shyanne, she screamed and her mouth is open, so her mouth is packed with snow. And
No.
Daddy could have killed us.
I could just see it. I could just see it.
It's like, God. Like, this is my parent over here. Like, I'm like operator error with the dog team.
Yep. It's just so funny. Like, I love talking with like our dads and them sharing all the adventures they took us with the dog team. It's stuff like I think like obviously not the average American person our age experienced, and just some of the things that they did with us, and we're always fine and safe. I mean, minus you getting a mouthful of snow. But it's just like not really any harm, and it's just really good memories. And I think like I specifically remember you guys visiting, and you and your parents like loading up in the dog sled to mush across the river, and I mean, even just me watching you guys, mushing across the river and stuff, or us going over to visit you guys was just always really special memories. And my back when I was in Kenny Lake, I was a VPSO at the time. And I remember there's one winter where my mom was visiting for like a month. And I got home at like 7 or something from work, and it was dark. And I ran in the house. I think I scarfed down whatever food, and my kids were already in their jammies, just reading or whatever. And I was like, hey guys, I'm going out. I'm going to run the dogs for a little bit. And I threw on my gear. I was harnessing my dogs, hooking them up. And just as I was about to take off, here comes my little girl, Quana. She was probably like 7. And over her PJs, she threw all her winter gear on and took off running out the door. And just as about to take off, she's like, Mom, wait for me. And she jumps in my sled and joins me for the night. And we just talk about her school day and all kinds of things. And we're just talking. And then pretty soon, and I always kept like a caribou skin in the bottom of my my sled, and then also a sleeping bag for any time my kids wanted to jump in with me. Yeah. And we just talked away until pretty soon she quit talking, and I knew she was asleep, and yeah.
That's how we drive our kids around to get them to sleep in like Athabascan country.
Yeah.
Like, hop in the dog sled instead of actual car, right?
Yep. So yeah, a lot of good memories.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is what your mom said that one time when you asked her about, man, Mom, you must have been doing a lot of mushing. Remember?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah.
Tell that one.
Yeah. Again, I came home after running dogs, did a long run, and my mom was there the evening sewing, and I was just really excited about how my dogs did. And I was just thinking a lot about our people's legacy with mushing and all the generations our family have mushed dogs. And I got home and I was like, man, Mom, I just kept thinking about you. Like, I wonder how many miles over the years that you mushed dogs, around Trapline and going back to the village. It was like 70 miles. Like, you must have mushed dogs so many miles in your life. And she said, oh no, I never mushed those dogs. I was always out ahead on snowshoes breaking trail. And I was oh my God, Mom, it's like a whole new level of badassery,
right?
Like, and that's just, that's who the women of our people are. Like, they're just tough, and they don't, it's just normal to them,
Yeah. Well, we're going to be, as Athabascan women, still breaking trail from here on out, and what a great legacy that our ancestors have passed down to us. And we see that Quana is now breaking that trail for us. So I'm so glad that I got to talk to you today. It's always wonderful to have conversations about our youth, and especially about dog mushing. So thank you.
Can't wait to get you on a sled with me very soon, I hope.
Okay, well, I'm coming up tomorrow, so maybe in the near future.
Yeah, I can take you tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.